All right, guys. So if you're not talking from now on, go ahead and mute yourself so we don't have a bunch of extraneous noise.
I'm the only one that counts now.
Yeah. Now it's only Tony. And if you ask him a question,
I'm just going to talk about my cat for an hour.
What's that?
I'm going to talk about my cat for an hour.
Absolutely. That's what we signed you up for. If you could wear a cat mask and stand in the corner while you do it.
That wouldn't be creepy at all.
Exactly. So who all we got? So everybody, you guys know who Tony is. That's why we brought him on. This is his second time on. Last time around was a great one too.
Thank you for inviting me back on. It's a huge honor. It's
absolutely,
awesome.
Man. We're pumped to have you. So we have a bigger group this time. And I know some of the guys.
Round two? Correct me if I'm wrong. Round two?
No, this is like 4.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, geez. All right. Forgive me.
Come on. No, this is round 3 for this year, and we did one at the end of last year. So this is round 4 in total. But yeah, so anyway, guys, this is just like we would any other Thursday night, just a chat. We just happen to have another handsome, bald gentleman joining us. So
that's what you got to be a strength coach nowadays.
Exactly. You just got to grow your beard back, and you'll be all set, man.
that will come maybe a little November-ish, like everyone else. So
yeah, there you go. But anyway, so I know a few of you guys that signed on, Dan and Steph. You guys sent in questions. So if you guys want to start, Steph, I know you had a question about beginner coaches and the article that Tony posted last week. So if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question.
I have no idea what to expect here, so I'm ready.
No, I was just curious. It's a little bit more of a general question, so you might be able to direct it where you feel best. But I'm a PT, and I'm just kind of over the last year getting into. I would love to sort of be in that hybrid between strength and conditioning and PT. So I was reading some of your stuff more recently, and the one article that was a little bit more about advice for the new trainer. I would consider myself a new trainer. So other than kind of like the 10 important things and the couple of points you put there, was there anything else that you feel like, it maybe would be more specific to a PT or someone else?
Yeah. So remind me which article that was that you're referring to.
I remember the title was like something for the new trainer.
Okay. Man, see, that's
look it up right now.
I don't remember anything from like a week ago.
Yeah. But you were talking kind of about how, it's not about you, it's about what they need. And
okay, I gotcha. I think that had to come down, I was pretty stubborn as a young trainer. I think we all go through that phase. I think Berardi talked about it a few years ago where, everyone enters this industry and we're like, okay, it's my way or the highway. I know it all. I'm the shit. I lift weights, so I obviously know what I'm doing. And, when I got my first client, I was like hyperventilating into a brown paper bag. Like I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I went through like the light presses are stupid phase, the Smith machine is stupid phase. Everyone should be doing deadlifts and squatting and bench pressing and doing rows. And of course, I still think that. Like I do feel those are valuable exercises, but of course, not everyone fits into that same mold. Like one of my biggest pet peeves now are coaches who don't understand that everyone is different. Certainly goals wise, injury history wise, but anatomically they're different. Mm-hmm. So what it grinds my gears, I don't know where that's coming from, but I'm saying it, where it's low bar only, or everyone has to pull from the floor, or it has to be this specific way all the time, every time. And I would implore any young coach to have an open mind and understand that everyone is different and it is about them. It's not about you. I think the bigger picture I was trying to get at with that article was, if you're into bodybuilding, you're going to train your clients like bodybuilders. If you're like a power lifter, you're going to train like a power lifter. If you're in Olympic lifting, all your clients are Olympic lifting. And that's cool. Like, that's obviously what you're passionate about. And, and even like, and not to throw all PTs under the bus, but a lot of PT-minded people get too corrective. where, you know, they get into that PRI rabbit hole and they're blowing balloons and tapping heel taps into the wall and hip shifts and talking left AICs, and you know, people need to train. And you know, again, it just comes back down to the client, and it is a service industry. We're here to serve the client. Of course, and it's a little bit of a balancing act too, because they are paying us for our expertise, and, you know, helping us direct them. But, you know, if I have a client and they're just not, they don't like an exercise, why do I have to force it down their throat? Why not just either do a different variation that they do like, or just do a different, I do it all the time now. Like, whether it's being wiser, it's definitely not being lazy. It's just, you know, it's a service industry. So, I just encourage a lot of young trainers to, the earlier they can adopt that mentality, the better off they're going to be. Because, you know, at the end of the day, if you have to pay bills, you know, maintaining clients, it's about keeping them happy. I mean, certainly getting them results, writing programs that are dictated to their goals are going to count. But, you know, some people don't really care about deadlifting 2 times body weight. Some people don't care about low bar squats. A goblet squat is more than enough for some people. So that was kind of like the big picture I was trying to get at with that article. And I think hopefully I answered your question. I don't know if you wanted me to elaborate more, or if it was just kind of, I mean, I could certainly talk more on that, but I think, yeah, with young trainers, like, it's just about not being too stubborn, and you know, recognizing that everyone's different, and then you're not that important. You know, we're all important, but you know what I mean.
No, I definitely find myself sometimes being, I feel like, almost too corrective, like you're saying.
Yeah, I think that's a big, I think Todd and Chris would agree with this. It's, you know, PRI, for as cool as it is, there's a lot of people going down that rabbit hole that, you know, and it's like, I do love the idea of bridging that gap of being a strength coach or a personal trainer, and then obviously having on the other side of the spectrum physical therapy. I think it's great that gap is being narrowed. The more interaction and communication there are between 2 camps, I think it only serves our clients and athletes better. Where it becomes problematic is when you have personal trainers giving shitty physical therapy. And again, they might take a PRI course or 2, and, you know, they're too concerned with looking cool and doing cool stuff and having people blowing into balloons and worrying about rib flares and, you know, hip shifts and stuff like that. And, you know, again, if you ever were to go to Cressy Sports Performance, or if you ever were to go to iFast, or any other reputable gyms, we've all adopted it. Chris, I know Chris and Todd. I don't do. What was that? Oh, someone say something? I'm sorry. You know, but if you look at how we've implemented strategies like that are the corrective stuff, it's like literally 2 minutes of breathing drills just to get people in better position, and then we're going to go lift heavy stuff. So that is a trap that I find a lot of younger trainers falling into, as far as being in the corrective camp. And call me old school, like I do feel, and it's kind of a cliche thing to say, that correct movement is corrective. You know, if I can get somebody to do a goblet squat and do that well and pattern their squat better, then how is that not corrective? So I don't need to be doing, you know, and I took the FMS and I got a lot from it, you know, active straight leg raises and cleaning up squat patterns that way. It's kind of cool to do the voodoo stuff just to give a little bit of the wow factor. But certainly, like, I'm much more of a fan of getting people on the gym floor, and letting that be my arena of wizardry, so to speak. So, but no, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
What else?
I'm muted. Hold on. Sorry. I was trying to talk and I was fucking muted. Steph, do you have anything to piggyback on that?
No, I think I'm just glad that I'm getting this kind of stuff now, because, like I said, I'm finishing up travel and hopefully working in a place that's a little bit more athlete and sports oriented. So if I can have that in mind before I head in, then I feel like I'm at more of an advantage.
Yeah, is your goal to kind of wear both hats?
I would love to. The populations I've been working with during travel has kind of been very non-rewarding. And my passion is really more sports and running and lifting and those kinds of things. So if I could work either in concert with trainers, I have a lot of friends that are trainers as well, then I feel like that would be a little bit more beneficial for who I want to work with.
So I think it's such a great thing. Because I mean, I know as a strength coach, I tend to gravitate more towards the manual therapists and the PTs that have an athletic background, who actually lift weights.
Right.
And understand that
I'm learning still.
Yeah, because for some people, it's really maddening when, you know, they have a bad experience with a physician or a physical therapist. Oh, you're not going to squat ever again, or you're not going to deadlift ever again, or I just think that's so maddening to me. Yeah, so I think it's great. The more people you coming into the industry is a great thing, and it's a great weapon to have in our back pocket.
Plan.
Yes, awesome.
Cool. All right. Hey, Dan, I know you had a question, man. Do you want to jump in and ask your question?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
You're good, man. You're good to go.
Dan, how are you?
Doing well. It's nice to be here. Thanks for addressing this question. I'm just curious what systems or processes or tools that you've used with athletes to address lifestyle and mindset.
Oh man, I wish my wife could kind of slide into this picture right now.
Well, we have her next week, so
yeah, you guys get a treat at that. See, I mean, I'm going to try my best to answer this question.
Cool.
But definitely save that for next week, because I feel like Lisa would be she'll talk for like a half hour with that one.
Cool.
And when you say mindset and lifestyle, like, are you referring to like like the pro guys and like, go to bed, or like, like their eating habits? Like there's anything specific that you're curious about?
Yeah, that's a good clarifier. So more or less, any of those things we know can affect the training, right? So any tools to kind of help track or refer to that stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking about that at Rebel quite a bit these days and try to put some things in place. There's simple ways to do that, but, have them fill out a tracking sheet that goes with sleep and mood and diet, etc. And it can be that simple, but I like to complicate things too much, I guess, sometimes.
You want me to pull out like my pocket protector and have like this algorithm, like do this.
Yeah.
I think certainly, communication is kind of, having that rapport with your athletes is kind of an important thing.
Yeah.
I think, any good coach, when you've been with an athlete long enough, it's like they walk through the door, you can kind of tell that they don't have it today, or, you can tell how they're warming up or how they're moving, they're a little slower. So I definitely think we need to trust our intuition. Like, I don't think we need to be, and again, this is my old schoolness coming to play. Like, as far as like all these apps and digital products coming out, like, I mean, shoot, I didn't get my first cell phone until like 2007. So I didn't get my first smartphone until 2012. So I'm a little behind the curve with the technology, but our eyes work very well.
Yeah.
And, so I definitely think there's that, and asking questions. I mean, if you read or watch any of Mark Fisher stuff, or Michael Keeler, or Brian Patrick Murphy, any of the MFF staff at Mark Fisher Fitness, like, they are champions of always asking questions and like, asking the right questions. Like, oh, how you feel? Tell me a little bit more about that. And Lisa, my wife, who will speak next week, she's very good at interviewing people. I mean, that's what she does for a living. And I think as coaches, there's a degree of interviewing that we can do with our clients. Like when they walk in, like, oh, so, what'd you do over the weekend? Like, what'd you do Saturday night? How'd you sleep? Tell me a little bit more about that. The less judgy you are, and just make it about them, and, just always ask why. And that will give you a lot of information. But I think I heard Mike Boyle, it might have even been Kevin Carr talking about it, but and forgive me if I'm forgetting the name, but I think it's a program called Coach Up. Has anyone ever heard of that, or am I making that up?
I don't know, man. I've never heard.
Not sure.
Can anyone confirm that? I know that I think at one point at MBSC they were thinking about using this program where it is, it's more of like the athletes will sign in like an hour before they go to their training session, and they're filling out like this quick questionnaire where it's asking how many hours of sleep did you get, what hurts today, what feels weird, and then the coach will log in before the athlete arrives and see what has been written, and then they alter the program for that day based off of that. I want to say it was called Coach Up, or it's Coaching Up, or something to that vibe. I'm blanking at it. Was when he was talking about it on the FitCast. The last time Boyle was on the FitCast, he was talking about it, which I thought was pretty intriguing. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and particularly with the volume of coaches or volume of athletes that MBSC is dealing with. I could see that working pretty well. And, like, especially nowadays, like the younger athletes, they love anything technology they're down with. Like if they can do it on their smartphone, they're going to be all about it. If you tell them to fill out a piece of paper, they're going to be like, fuck this.
Yeah.
So that might be something to look into.
Cool. That's a great tip. Yeah.
And again, forgive me for not remembering the name, but I feel like it was like Coach Up or Coaching Up or something like that.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, it's great. That's good stuff. And I wouldn't expect there to be like one magic thing. And what you said about communicating with the athletes for sure makes a lot of sense in the one-on-one.
And like I said, I do feel like next week, if you ask the same exact question, like Lisa she will blow your mind.
All right.
Tell you, as far as like being able to interview, like just having that open communication and rapport, she'd be fantastic with that. But really, the more you get people talking about themselves,
right?
Say their name. I think it was even another Mark Fisher reference I might even got it from Harold Gibbons, which is one of the coaches there. Like if you're saying the athlete or client's name minimum 7 or 8 times a session, like even that is huge as far as like their willingness to communicate and give more information and stuff like that. So, which I found was very helpful.
Excellent. Yeah, I look forward to next week as well, but this is helpful, and mostly in a group context, I think it would be a unique challenge, right? Because individually that all is fantastic, and using those communication skills and honing that connection is the best way for sure. But
it gets tough in a group setting too, because a lot of times, especially as coaches, a lot of what we have to do is pump the brakes and learning. Like, I don't know about you guys, but my experience working with male athletes and female athletes, like if I tell a male athlete to take some weight off the bar, it's like a strike to their ego. Like I'm telling them that they have a small dick, and like, they're like, oh, what do you mean you take the weight off? Like, and it's like, this isn't me attacking you. And with females, like, it's like, I tell them to take the weight off, like, okay, cool. Like, it's, so even that is like, even that dynamic is always interesting to me. And I think, like you said, in the group dynamic, if something as simple and as, it's like, hey, let's take a little weight off the bar, and like on this next set, and, even that can be a delicate matter. So even to figuring out ways to be delicate with that, and just being like, hey, this isn't attacking at you. It's just like, I want our rest to be high quality. Like, you're breaking form or whatever. Just stuff like that goes a long way.
Yeah. Good stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hopefully I answered, but at least like save that question next week. That's going to be a home run for her.
Excellent. Will do. Thanks, Tony.
You got it.
How about you, Wes? You sent in a question.
Yeah, it's kind of similar. I was listening to your one podcast with Mike Robertson.
Yep.
And obviously, he's a cool dude. But obviously like communicating to your clients and building that rapport takes a little bit of time and this, that, and the other. But when you do your initial physical assessment, you were talking about how you'll throw in random personal questions in there. And I just want to know where you got that. And then what questions were those?
Oh, I think I got it just from experimentation and just kind of being myself.
Yeah.
I think, I'm at a cool point now in my career where, especially now that I've left CSP, where the bulk of the people who are reaching out to me already know what they're getting themselves into. Like they already read my material, they read my blog, they read my articles, so they kind of know my personality to some degree. So like, it just made sense to me to, if I'm going to have them fill out all this boring paperwork, to make that a little bit more of a, not entertaining thing, but just make it a little less vomit in their mouth-ish, for lack of a better term. So, I mean, I have everyone, they fill out this, I wouldn't say it's super lengthy, but, it takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It's the requisite health questionnaire. And in between, I feel like it sets the tone. Like I'm not taking it too seriously. I mean, of course I'm going to take it seriously. Like I feel like I'm pretty thorough. But if I have them fill out, like, one of my questions, for example, is, after this, like, name, address, goals, blah, blah, blah. But then I'll be, what's your favorite movie? And like, even that, it's just a conversation stimulator. So, and it gets the ball rolling that I'm not just like this, health and fitness and deadlifting terminator. That's all I think about is just fitness at all times. I am a human being and I have interests and likes outside of the gym. So if anything, it's just a way to break the ice. And then, I have a bunch of like another good examples, as they're filling out the questionnaire, it's like all these yes, no answers, like, heart disease, do you smoke, do your bones hurt, like whatever. It's just like 20 yes, no answers right in a row. And then at one point I say, have you ever been bitten by a zombie? It's just, it's just a way to break the ice. And then they can kind of see like, they can maybe, break their person or show me a little bit more of their personality when they see them in person. I don't really know where I got it. It was just something, it's just me, my personality. So, but I feel like it's a pretty cool way to get to people get a little bit more of a flavor of who I am and then like the type of environment that I want. Because I don't want it to be like this, I am the coach, you're the client, like hands off, and we're just gonna do like, we are gonna do some shit and we're gonna get after it. But I definitely want to gossip about like House of Cards. So and I think that people respond well to that. So does that answer your question? I hope.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, and it's just like whether it's like whether you want to call them like maybe speed bumps or assessment speed bumps. So when they're filling out their paperwork, it's just what's your favorite movie? Like what's your pet's name? Like
have you sharded?
G.I. Joe's pretty cool. Who's your favorite character? What did you say?
Have you sharded before?
Yeah, that'd be a good one too. What? Like what was your most embarrassing moment in the gym? Or that'd be like I sharded myself on a side of deadlifts, or like that'd be a great conversation starter.
All right, cool. Put that in there.
That.
Cool. Anybody else have any questions on deck right now?
Hey, I've got more of a comment than a question. Tony, what I love that you're talking about is all these 3 questions basically come down to the same 2 answers, whether it's exercise selection, intake, and motivation. It's all coming in from connections, right? And agendas. Like whose agenda are we on? And making the connection that we actually are on the right agenda and building that trust. Like, I just love that that's all connected.
Yeah. I mean, there's a degree of it, like, I'm the shit. I know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, I don't want them to think that I'm like trying to like talk over them.
Yeah.
Or be like, oh, I'm in men's health, so I'm God. No, not at all. Like, it is you're here. Like, let's do this. Like, we're gonna work hard, but it is a lot, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't get a lot of it from, of course, Mark Fisher. they're kind of like taking over the industry, so to speak. But it's, obviously having a wife who is a psychologist, like, some Jedi mind tricks I've learned from her have been pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
It helps a lot. But you're correct. I agree with you.
Awesome. Hey, Mike Baranis, go ahead, man. I know you have a question.
What's going on, Tony? Quick question on I didn't really look into it, but what made you leave CSP, and what was that like?
Because everyone's an asshole. No.
How long was that marinating in your mind until you were just like, all right, that's it, I'm out?
It was kind of marinating in my head for a while as far as leaving. And I'm definitely not one of those guys that's looking 5 years ahead, or what's your 3-year plan, or what's your 5-year plan, or let alone a 10-year plan. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to be doing. But once I got married, Lisa and I got married in May of 2015. Then the wheels kind of get set in motion as far as okay, we're this thing now. What are we going to do? What are our goals as a couple? Where do we want to, not where do we want to be, but what our careers, what's going to happen here? And, leaving CSP wasn't easy. And I give a lot of credit to Todd for giving me the courage to do it. I think I wrote a blog post on it. I don't know if anyone read it, but I wrote it a year and a half ago, 13 words that can change your life. Or I know it's definitely 13 words, but basically Todd was like, you're only going to do it if you scare the shit out of yourself. And it's like, oh, you know what? That's pretty spot on. I kind of agree with that. And a lot of things kind of fell into place that it made the time right to do it. I spent 8 years there building my own brand, which is kind of what we at CSP champion doing. We want all the coaches there to, yes, be successful there and be an ambassador of CSP. And when you're there, you're a CSP coach, but have the opportunity to become Tony Gentilcore and build the strength house like Greg is doing, and Tony, the other Tony, and do all that stuff. So, I've been very fortunate in my career to, it made it less daunting knowing that when I was leaving CSP that I was still, I had a name. I've made a pretty good name for myself, I think. And, I wasn't just leaving with 0 clients. It was, people were kind of yeah, I live in Boston, I'll come train with you. But I also had my website, my writing, speaking engagements, distance coaching. So I've built other revenue streams to make it so I don't have to solely rely on coaching. Because if that were the case, then I would have been fucked. There's no way I would have succeeded. But, because I was able to build these other revenue streams, which I do feel is important nowadays to do that. It made it very less daunting. And you got to remember too, when I left CSP, I walked into a situation where I wasn't owning anything. I was subleasing, which I think is a very, very underrated modality that a lot of coaches don't take. Because I think we've all been programmed to think that the holy grail in this industry is to own your own gym, right? I'm going to own my own gym and I'm going to crush it. And it doesn't work that way. And if you look at how, when we started CSP, it was very, very tiny. It was 2,200 square feet. We funded it ourselves. It was a piece of shit gym. And we grew it from there. Right. We also had other things in our favor where we had Pete, who was a business person. So Eric and I could actually coach and write programs. We didn't have to, call Comcast or call clients or schedule. It was this perfect storm of stuff that allowed us to grow. But, when I left CSP, I have no interest. I'm not Eric. Eric is on all the time. Anyone who's been around Eric for any knows that he is on all times. And, and I really had no interest in owning my own gym. So when I left CSP, I was subleasing under a woman. So basically I was paying rent to use a space for an hourly rate. So I could charge whatever I wanted to charge and then my rent was $25 an hour, whether I worked with one person for that hour or whether I worked with 4 people for that hour. And of course, being a fan of the semi-private model, my goal was to have 2 to 4 people training at the hour, and then I would pay my rent for that hour, and everything was great. And I think you all know that eventually I ended up taking over the lease because the woman who I was subleasing under, who was a doctor, got a fellowship, and she's like, "Hey, I'm leaving," and I was like, "Fuck," like what the hell? And I was like, okay, I can either just say fuck it, I'm gonna take all this equipment I just bought and like store it somewhere and then just go and sublease somewhere else, or I can take over the lease. And I sat down with Lisa, put pen to paper, figured out the numbers, and it turned out that it was going to be cheaper for me to take over the lease if I had a trainer or 2 subleasing under me. And of course I spoke with Pete, because that's another thing too. But as far as like leaving CSP, nothing bad happened. Like people like to think that we had like this major knife fight, and Eric and I hate each other, and Pete and I hate each other, and we don't. Like we're still great friends. It was just time to leave, and Pete helped me think it out as far as like when I left, and especially taking over the space now. Now I have Core. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that was dope.
I could talk about that forever. Like I really feel that we've been programmed to think that gym ownership is like what we need to be doing, and it's not for everyone. Like I will 100% tell you that I'm not a great. Anyone who's read the E-Myth, you're an entrepreneur, you're an architect, or a technician, or I forgot the third one, but I was definitely a technician. Like I was never a manager or an entrepreneur. Well, I lied. Like I think we're all entrepreneurial to some degree, especially in this day and age. But I was definitely not anyone remotely interested in talking about overhead and rent and insurance and this and that. And but luckily, like what was surprising to me was that when I actually eventually jumped into that, I learned a lot from Pete and Eric. Like I had a little bit of a business mentorship for 8 years, watching those guys do it. So I wasn't as much of a failure as I thought I was going to be as my own entrepreneurial gym owner business guy. But even now, like it's nothing major. Like I remember listening recently to Daniel John's latest talk on the FitCast, where he's like, what did he want his career to be? He's like, I want to coach, I want to write, I want to teach, and I figured it out. And to me, like I don't want to be coaching 50 hours a week. I did that for a long time and I enjoyed it, and it made me who I am today. But I'm at a point now where I'm coaching 15, 20 hours a week, and I'm writing, and I get invited to speak at places when people want me to come speak, which is always kind of cool. And preparing for a baby to come. So it's I've made it what I want it to be. Like it's semi-private. I'm there 15 hours a week. I have 2 trainers subleasing under me. And it's pretty cool. So hopefully I won't burn it down. Sorry for my rambling. I know I could have talked about that forever.
That was dope. I think the biggest thing I'm trying to take away from that is like how to build up as many revenue streams as possible to like some security besides working at Superior right now. And
because there was a time where I told every trainer that the new ones coming up that you should spend the first 2 to 3 or so years of your career in a commercial gym. Because that's the only way you're going to get better. You're going to get immersed in so many different personalities and peoples and backgrounds and injuries and whatever, that it's only going to make you a better coach. And then you can worry about your ebook and your blog and, changing the world. But obviously we're in a very digital age now. So I think, it would behoove anyone not to have at least a website. It doesn't have to be a blog, but just like this is about me. This is the services I offer. This is what I'm about. At least start with that, and certainly I have found great value in writing and using that as a way to get my name out there and get good information out there. And that takes time too. Like, I feel like patience is a lost virtue. And, you know, it's taken me, like, I tell people all the time, like, I'm approaching 15 years. And I only just kind of sort of now feel like I'm starting to get it. And literally, like, I still feel like I suck. And even with writing, and like, I wrote a blog post the other day of, like, you know, how to write good content, how to write content that gets read. And I've written over 1,800 blog posts. Like, that's a lot of fucking writing. You know, it's not just going to happen. You're not just going to write a blog for a month and people are just going to flock to you. So, but I think it is very important to develop other revenue streams just so you don't burn out. Because, I mean, honestly, like, coaching 35, 40, 45, 50 hours a week, week after week after week after week, it brings you out. And, you know, I always felt bad for, like, my 8 p.m. clients at the end of the day. I was like, they were not getting 12 p.m. Tony. They were getting, I want to get the fuck out of here and go to bed, Tony. So, you know, I think you're very wise into trying to develop those other revenue streams, whether it's, you know, writing or doing speaking engagements or anything of that sort. So good for you.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Anybody else? You've got something. Okay, I'll go. So Tony, I know there's a lot of people in the group that, you know, kind of want to do kind of what you just talked about, which is expand themselves and get into writing and, you know, broadening their horizons. And actually, like, the last phase of the program this time is about expansion. So we broke it into different phases. So the first phase is about getting and keeping your shit together. The second phase is about programming. Third is about coaching. And then the last one is about expansion and going and seeking other avenues. So, you know, beyond repetition, what advice do you have for anybody that, you know, wants to write more and be better at writing and really expand themselves in other ways?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hit the obvious points. But I do think, I think anyone who wants to be a good writer should read a lot. And Chris is a bastard because I listen, not in a good way, Chris, sorry.
He actually knows his father. He does know his father.
But I can literally, my bookshelf is kind of like over here to my left. And I listened to when you were on with Robertson, all the books that you had listed, like Perfect Day Formula, Attraction, all those. And I went on to Amazon and ordered those books. And, you know, but I don't just read business, and I know you don't either, but I like to, like, I'm stupid. I'm reading like 4 books at once. Like, I'll read a nonfiction book, I read a fiction book, I read, you know a website I'm obsessed with right now. And I feel like if you want to read good writing and writing that's scientific and witty and funny, it's called waitwhatwhy.com. And it's this dude, he talks about like SpaceX and like, you know, the aliens and like colonizing or going to Mars. And it is fascinating. And he like interviews Elon Musk and he writes about, it's so good. It's such good writing. Like, I love it. You know, but, you know, you read writers that you enjoy, like, you just love their style. You like, you know, what they have to say. Like, you know, look at John Romaniello. Like, he is a guy that I admire as a writer. You know, I read his prose and some sentences he writes. I'm like, you're an asshole. I hate you. You're such a good writer. But I think any good writer is going to obviously write, but then read good writing, and copy it. Like, I mean, not put it on the internet. You know, like, just practice, like, bring up an article they wrote and just copy how they write it. That's going to help you become a better writer. You know, and it's thing I coincidentally, what I wrote this the other day. A lot of people don't think about what their writing actually looks like on a computer screen. So if you want your shit to get read, you have to make it readable. as far as like how it looks on the page. Does that make sense? So what you want to avoid are these long ass paragraphs that are like that's nothing but words. More spacing is better on a blog post. You know, if you look at a lot of the people getting blogs made now, like Eric Bach just had one put up, Joel Seedman. You look at like the words themselves are bigger, like the font is bigger, which is good, so it makes it more readable. But people don't want to read these long ass paragraphs. Like you got to break up your paragraphs more. You got to break them up with subtitles. So subtitles always help. Numbers always help. You know, breaking it up with videos and pictures always help. And speaking of pictures too, like I've been dinged. Like this is a hard lesson that I would implore you guys to follow is don't just use Google Images because that's playing with fire. It's not to say you can't use it, but there's on Google Images, if you search for pictures, if you go to, I think it's more, and you got to click on usage rights, and under that it will say like, you know, reusable for, there's a little click on there that says that it could be, I forget the actual word they can use, but Google Images is playing with fire. I use a service called 123rf.com, which is, you get great pictures and they look professional, and you know, you put up your little disclaimer on there that you got it from that site. Because I've been dinged 3 times. I remember the biggest one was I used a picture of Chris Evans, who's Captain America. I put a picture of him in one of my blog posts 2 years ago. And then a couple months ago, I get this email from this law firm like, oh, such and such, our picture is copyrighted. Here's a picture of your blog post using this picture. We need $300. And I'm like, fuck. And I had another one happen where it was like a $70 fine. And it sucks, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So I just went ahead and got a monthly membership on the 123RF, or there's another one called Stock Unlimited, which is always a good site for getting pictures. And I can write it off. So, but I feel safe in that any picture I put up on the internet now is not going to cost me $300 2 years down the road. So, you know, all that stuff is going to help get your stuff read, because I have no doubts that everyone in this group will put out great content. Like anyone in this group is obviously invested in their continuing education. They know what they're talking about. They're good coaches. And you got to trust too that, you know, I think a lot of people get bummed out that, well, what can I say that hasn't already been said, right? Like there's nothing out there that's new. Like, you know, it's already been said. Deadlifts, undulated periodization, you know, bond sniffing dolphins. It's all been said. You can't bum yourself out like that because nothing has been said in your voice or your perspective or your experiences. So don't discount that. Like you need to, that's going to be different, you know? So, and some people are going to resonate with that. Like they're going to like your style. They're going to like your personality. They're going to like your research-based approach, or they like you being funny or whatever. All that stuff's going to count. And, how's that, Todd? Is that pretty good? I mean, I could keep going too. It's just, those are just some life lessons or lessons I've learned in the I don't know, almost decade that I've been fitness writing. Cause it's really weird. Cause it's funny. Cause if my English teacher in 11th grade found out like what I'm doing now, like a big chunk of my career is making money off writing, she would probably shit herself. Like literally she would shit Kurt Vonnegut book out of her rectum. Like it would actually kind of be worth seeing. But hopefully that helps. Like I just think those are some little tidbits that I can offer on that topic.
I think it was great, and it's funny because, you know, when I was younger and like in college and coming out of college and everything, you know, it's your writing actually influenced me and like, you know, gave me the balls to kind of write and write that I wanted to do it and kind of be an asshole, you know.
Yeah. And it's so because I mean and that's the thing too. Like I always say that the first lesson that I really took home as a writer was when I got my first article up on T Nation, and TC was like, hey, good job. People love information, but they want to be entertained. And, you know, we're in a day and age where 140 characters is all you have to get people's attention. And if you can't do it on sentence 1, paragraph 1, you're going to be hurting. So, and I'm not saying like people, you have to be funny or you got to be like poop jokes and, you know, swearing. 'Cause there's plenty of people who don't like that. But it's, yeah, I mean, first of all, that's a great compliment. Thank you, Todd. Because I think even Mark Fisher said I was one of the first writers that he read where he felt he could be a little bit zany. Because like I'm referencing Star Wars and, you know, whatever else I referenced in the past. Like, you know, I used to put a lot of pictures of attractive females in my articles. I don't do that anymore, but not that Lisa would care. But because I just don't do it. I've grown as a writer.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, like honestly, like I think you should write how you talk. Like people want to be, they want to like, and if you're reading your writing out loud and it sounds like you're reading an article, then I would say you need to fix that. Like it should read like you're just having a conversation. You know, so don't be scared to use, you know, shorthand or, I mean, I don't think you should be using like LOL and OMG and all that stuff like that. But, yeah, you got more, the more conversational you can be with your writing, I think more people will appreciate that.
I think so too. I think there's, you mentioned T Nation. I think there's a couple things that would help people too, is that, one of our members a few weeks ago like asked me about like resources or something to writing and how am I going to get better at writing, and I said, well, the really easy way to do it is just write what you want and not give a fuck what anybody thinks, and it's a real good start. But
have a way with words, Todd.
Yeah, one of the things that helped me a lot, honestly, is like when I first started writing for T Nation when I was like 23. And I pushed it out there, and there were people that would read it, and they would just fuck me up in the comments section, you know. And then like I would get torn apart. So you sit there, you look at that, and then the next time you sit down to write something, you're like, you think about it 12 different ways. So because somebody's gonna have this question or somebody's gonna say this, so you're able to come up with those arguments and refute them before they even come up. So
yeah, you need to be. Because you're right, the internet will eat you up. Like if you gotta be, and that's a good point that you make up, is that you need to stay in your lane when you're writing.
Yeah.
Right. So me, like I feel very comfortable talking about deadlifts, assessment, program design, you know, shoulder anatomy, anything of that nature. Like I feel pretty confident that I'm an authority in those topics. You know, there's a reason why I don't write about intermittent fasting or, you know, gluconeogenesis or contest prep. I don't have any, little, if any, experience in any of those things. So could I do a little research and probably have an opinion on that kind of stuff? Sure. Do people want to hear that stuff? Sure. Because that's another thing I think Tony Bombvecchio has brought up in the past with fitness writing. It's like you want to try to avoid being too ambiguous. You need to have like, hey, you're the fitness authority here. Like have an opinion, you know. And I remember TC at T Nation telling us that too. Like don't be like, I don't know. Like if you feel people are stupid for doing steady state cardio, then be that guy. Like I'm not that guy, but if that's your point of view, own it, and there you go. You know, just be prepared to back up your statements, which I think is what you were alluding to. You need to be able to do that. But yeah, it's you know, you got to know your audience too, of course. Like, you know, how you write for T Nation is going to be a lot different than how you're writing for men's health or women's health. And that brings up another lesson too, is like as you're getting edited, like I used to always take the original article that I sent in and then see the finished product and try to compare. Like, what did they take out? What do they switch up? How do they reword stuff? that's only going to make you better. And you can't, as a writer, like your shit's going to get edited. Like everyone gets edited. Like Stephen King gets edited, right? So you can't take it as a personal attack that, I'm a horrible writer. That's just not the case. Well, maybe some people are horrible writers, but take those editing instances and use them as lessons. So, that's what I did, and it helped tremendously. Like I'm always very curious how people edit my stuff and sometimes I can predict what they're going to take out. But you try to teeter on that threshold a little bit.
Absolutely. 100%. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Who else says something? We have some.
Hey Tony. So if you're training about 15 hours a week, what's your writing schedule like? Like, how are you parsing that out?
Yeah. So I'm more creative in the morning. So some people are more creative this time of night, and I could not do that if you paid me. Maybe if you paid me, I could do it, but but my writing, I get up at like 5:30, 6 in the morning, eat breakfast, watch the news, see what the fuck's going on in the world, and then my wife leaves for work at 8 a.m. And then when she's out the door, I bring my laptop, I sit down, and it's go time. So, that's a little bit of like answering emails and, catching up on social media. That is work. Like to me, it's at a point now where social engagement in Facebook, in Twitter, and Instagram, that counts as work. Like I think it's pretty stupid to not engage your readers there. Like, because these are people that's your tribe, right? These are people that are potentially going to buy your products down the road. So you need to engage with them. Like if someone asks a question, answer it. Like if someone says something kind, say thank you. That was a nice thing to wake up to. Like it doesn't have to be a dissertation, but that does count. But then every blog that you see that I write, 95% of the time was written that morning. And it's a blog, I try my best to edit myself. I'm not an English major. Yeah. I'm sure some people are like, oh my God, I can't believe he, use the inappropriate preposition there and whatever. But morning time is my writing time. So whether it's my blog or catching up on an article that's due, anything of that nature. And then it's kind of like it's separated into two. So I'll do the bulk of it in the morning. Then I head out, I go work out at like 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then I come back from my workout and I try to get a little bit more writing in, and with that, like answering emails, but working on an article again or whatever. So, and then I typically don't head into my facility until 4 or 5 o'clock. Except for on Saturdays, I'm there from like 8 a.m. till like 2 in the afternoon. So, that's generally that my writing is definitely more so in the morning. And I don't know I'm sure some of you, maybe you're nighttime writers. Like, I don't know. What about you, Todd or Chris? Do you guys write in the morning or at night?
Always morning. I can't do it. I'm fucking shot at night. I
can't. After coaching, I'm like, my mental energy is gone. So I have like zero capacity to write at night.
Tony, do you coach a lot on Saturdays more so than you do during the weekdays?
Yeah, Saturday day is my biggest day. It's my busiest day. There's a lot, especially in Boston.
Yeah.
I'm actually in Brookline, which is in Boston, but it's it's out a little bit. And a lot of my clients live, they have to drive through the city to get to me, which is kind of a pain in the ass during the week. So a lot of my clients, the one day of the week they work with me is on Saturdays. So that's my busiest day. But I do a lot of times or blocks throughout the week, like if I have to do an assessment, because my assessments are always one-on-one. Like I don't like to do that when there's other people in the gym. Like I like for them to feel like they have my undivided attention during that initial assessment. But then they're told like, hey, moving forward, like the way it goes here is it's semi-private. Like you're going to be working, amongst 2 to 4 other people off your own program, but but yeah, Saturday is the longest stretch of time that I'm there at any time. So it could be anywhere from, usually I'm there 6 hours, and then it's date night with my wife after that.
That's nice.
Yeah, no, it's a good schedule. Like, I feel very fortunate that I've gotten to the point where I can do that. So sometimes I feel like maybe I'm not coaching enough, or I'm not working hard enough. But then my wife reminds me, like, no, asshole. Like, she doesn't call me an asshole, but she's like, I coached a lot, and I did the 4 a.m.s and the late nights, and so yeah, it's a pretty cool schedule. I have no complaints.
Cool.
Hopefully it can stay that way.
About to decide that it's going to.
Well, that's another conversation I have to have with myself too, because I think, when my wife and I first started dating, I was like, I don't want to be coaching when I'm 55, 60. Like, maybe a little bit, but I definitely foresee myself doing more of like and not that I'm going to compare myself to Dan John, but, and not that I feel like I'm going to be writing books, but, doing writing and maybe doing traveling, speaking, doing a little bit of distance coaching, so to speak. But I'm definitely not going to be like actively coaching, at 60 years old. I hope I'm not. Who knows? Hopefully my wife will, have her own talk show at some point or something. I don't know.
I think you just signed yourself up to write a book, my man. You can't go.
Well, that is something that Brian Cron and I are kind of secretly hashing out an idea that we feel will do well. So it won't be like a page turner book. It'll be like a high performance handbook for guys over 40, so to speak. So I feel like we both feel it's kind of an untapped market, and I feel like with both of our writing prowess that we could pull it off and write a pretty kick-ass program and hopefully do that. So hopefully we can get the bulk of that done before the baby arrives. But so I got a lot of work to do before then. So
yeah, man. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. It's January 27th. Whew.
That's going to come really fast. Then you're not sleeping at all.
Yeah, that's just, both Lisa and I are pretty bummed about that because we love going to bed pretty early. So she's reading a 600-page book on how to get a baby to sleep right now. Like, I'm not lying. It's 600 pages. It's amazing.
I can't believe there's 600 pages of knowledge.
It's like infant, toddler, and it like is all these scenarios. Like, it's pretty legit. So we're hoping that we train them early.
Save your time, Tony. It doesn't work.
Out of nowhere. Don't do it. Doesn't work. That's awesome. You mean a book can't tell me everything I need to know about a baby? Come on.
Fucking Rick Garcia, the nihilist, jumps in. Nothing will fucking.
That was awesome.
Hey, I read all that shit too, man. And then the baby number one comes, and we're like, "What the fuck are we doing?" All right, well, we're just gonna wing it. So.
Well, thank you for that. Hey, I need the brutal honesty. So.
Nice. All right, guys. Anybody have anything else that they want to get out here? We're rolling up on.
Do it up. I'm here. So if you got questions, ask away.
Crickets. Eric Yavron, you look interested. Say something.
How you doing? Actually, no, I do have a question, Tony. I've dabbled a little bit with trying to write, failed miserably. But the biggest issue I always had was I never know what to write about when I sit down. So do you kind of plan it out in ahead, jot ideas down as they come, or you just sit down and start going?
I think about what you have access to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think of the questions you're asked from your athletes and your clients. Like, could that be an article? Like, a common one, like, hey, how much weight should I be using? Like, is that not an article? Or like, why do I need to keep my back arch on a deadlift? Can't that be an article? Like that don't forget that the questions that you're asked from your clients and athletes could be an article. Not to mention, I think the more you read, The more ideas you get, like, you can spin something a different way or elaborate more on what this coach said. That always works. And I do need to do a better job of keeping a notebook next to my bed, because you always think like, oh, I'm going to remember that, and then you never do. So I've gotten better at that, but on my website I have, because I use WordPress for my blog, so I have an area that says blog ideas. So I'll just list them out, and then if I'm struggling one day on something to write about, I'll just go to that little list and try to start hashing something out. But one drill that's kind of worked that I'm using more of is, if you have an idea for an article, do like a 10-minute brain dump on before you start writing the article. So like, say it's on why you feel low bar squats are awesome or whatever. I'm just throwing something out there. You do like a 10-minute like idea dump on you're typing away and just, these are the points I want to hit. This is the message of the article. And you can always refer back to that to make sure that you're not going off tangent. Like, are you answering the question, who you're writing to, stuff like that. So those are all things that will help. Keeping in your head, like, who is this article for, or who are you writing to, can help keep you on task as far as the stuff that you're writing.
Cool. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
It's good seeing you, dude. Good luck with everything out there.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, Cinderella's gonna fucking turn to a pumpkin soon. She's gonna go to sleep.
Well, yeah, Lisa's gonna be mad. I'm gonna wake her up.
I'm gonna say you're waking up. Cool. Well, Tony,
she's super pumped to come on. She was really honored that you guys asked her. So it's gonna be cool. I think you guys are gonna enjoy her.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. I know. I mean,
I'll try to, like, maybe I'll walk in the background, like, when she's not looking, and then just like be like, I'll just fuck with her a little bit. I don't know.
In a towel.
Yeah. Oh, you see in the background. Where's my sandwich?
And then she just whoops your ass right now.
I would be sleeping on the couch for a week.
Yeah, real bad idea. Don't do that.
But yeah, no, she's super excited. So I'm definitely going to be listening. I'm going to sit up on the side and just listen. So
it'll be awesome. It'll be awesome, man. So, but anyway, thanks again, man.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Hey, anytime. I'm here. I love what you guys are doing. You guys I love it. So
thanks, man.
I'm here to help.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you for your time, man.
Hey, guys, take care.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.